right, folks, welcome to our AEW Double or Nothing prediction show here on Backbreaker Video. Special thanks to Beercade YEG for sponsoring this episode. And joining me is the OG here over at Backbreaker Media, the host, co-host of the Stardom Wrestling Review and the NJPW Pro Wrestling Review, Mr. Andre C. How you doing, bud?
I am great. I am happy to be here with you, sir. I always love talking with you. And it's been a long time. I think it's been a year since we've done a show together. Was it Forbidden Door last year?
I think so. It's been a while, but I know that we both love wrestling and we both know how to enjoy wrestling at its finest. And I don't think we can say anything more appropriate about that than to talk about wrestling at Beercade.
Yes. Yes.
Not only do you have drink specials, it's also free to show up and watch it. You don't have to pay any cover. We ask you to tip your waitresses nicely. We are once again proud to announce that we have extended our agreement with Beercade YEG to be the official host of the AEW Watch Along at Beercade YEG. But we got to tell the people what we think about what we're going to see here. Because to me, this has been a very interesting card that's been developing here for Double or Nothing. It doesn't have the pomp, circumstance, and flash that it has had in previous years. But I still feel that this is going to be a very solid card for us to watch.
I think it's a lot of great professional wrestling. You look at the tag team title. You look at the main event. You look at, and then there's some like over the top stuff with like the ladder match and that battle royal, and then the women's match. There's so much great professional, like give me good in ring quality wrestling. I think in this show, not the like you said, not the big pomp and circumstance, but it's going to be, I think, one of the best cards they've ever put together.
Absolutely. And well, let's get into these matches, all right? Because, you know, we got 9 matches at this time that we're going to be covering here. Just a quick note for everybody. We are recording this Thursday morning at about 9 o'clock. So if anything gets added on the Rampage before, my apologies. We just didn't get a chance to get to it. So, all right, let's get into our first match here with some very interesting stipulations here. Watching the final deletion sort of brought this sort of to fruition here with the six-man tag here with Ethan Page and the Guns taking on the Hardy Party of the Hardys and Hook. Now, if Matt... If team,
I thought it was supposed to.
I think it was Isaiah, but according to Wiki, they got it changed over to Hook now. So
yeah, I see that.
Either way, I don't think it's going to change who the winner is going to be here. But if Matt Hardy's team wins over Ethan Page's team, Ethan Page's contract goes to Matt Hardy, just like Matt Hardy's was with Ethan Page. Andre, I know we were talking about maybe it's supposed to be Isaiah Cassidy here instead, but what are your thoughts on the matchup itself, and who do you think is going to come out here?
I have all expectations that it's going to be Matt Hardy getting the pinfall on Ethan Page to take his contract. Because again, they don't want to let this gimmick die, I guess. Like, not that it's been bad, but hasn't been good professional wrestling. I've seen far worse. I've watched Tyrus. But I don't know. It's I don't know how to say it. It's not the most compelling thing I've been watching on AEW this last year, I guess, of this stuff happening. And it's just interesting to see why. I don't know why they're going to continue. But again, Matt Hardy's going to be able to screw with Ethan Page. Or maybe Matt Hardy's just a good guy, wins the contract, and just fires his ass so we don't have, like, just get you're gone, bye. Like, I don't know. I don't want Ethan Page fired because I absolutely love that guy, but it's going to keep going with Matt Hardy winning here.
I think this is going to be a Rampage feud going on for the next month here, where Ethan Page is going to have to try and find a way to get out of this situation before they do the format change on Rampage, which we could talk about on another. We could talk about it another time here, but I think totally this has to be the Hardys' victory. It doesn't make sense for Ethan Page to win it other than they want to end this. And I don't know if you really want to end this one here. Unless you got some kind of other factor that you want to add into it.
Yeah, unless you want like Ethan Page to go off and do something else, which I don't see them doing. You might as well continue because it gives them all something to do. It's just not something I tune into on Rampage.
I still think you got a month of holding patterns for a lot of this stuff. So that's basically where my thoughts are until Collision happens on June 17th. But
yeah,
let's move on from there. And you want to talk about people trying to interject themselves in feuds and mixing things up all over the place. 21 men going at it at the same time. Feel free to clip that and use whatever way you want there. But the Blackjack Battle Royal, which I don't know if this is actually a renamed Casino Battle Royal due to copyright or something, or if they're just going to have 21 people in the ring going at it. But Orange Cassidy defends the International Championship. So far, we know for sure in the matchup is going to be QT Marshall, Powerhouse Hobbs, Aaron Solo, and Ricky Starks. The rest we're not sure about. I got a feeling we're going to probably see one of Jay White or Juice Robinson in there as well after the interaction. Quite possibly could be both. Do we see Orange Cassidy coming out of this? Like every match that he's been in, including an absolutely great match with Aussie Open's Kyle Fletcher, which I want to make sure you get that plug in there, Andre.
Who's now All Elite.
Yeah, that's a feel-good story to say the least. But, Andre, do you think Orange Cassidy comes out with the championship, or do we finally get the title off Orange in this case?
Okay, so I see it in two ways. Is that this might be their way to get them to get the title off of Orange without having him pinned. Because maybe he wants him protected. But again, Orange Cassidy is so over at this point, I think actually getting pinned to lose his title is the better option. So I'm going to predict he comes out with the title because it doesn't seem big enough. You know what I mean? It seems like almost like a cop-out to put this title on somebody else through a battle royal. And it just makes Orange Cassidy that much bigger because he defeated 21 men to win this. He has to come out first. No matter what it is, he needs to be in that ring first. Whether it's the suits, whatever it is, he needs to be the first man in the ring.
Oh yeah, if it's 21 people, if it's just a straight up battle royal, I could totally see it being Orange Cassidy coming out last so that, he gets that big pop. I could see this match actually opening the show because they like to open it with the battle royals because they can do the entrances prior to the pay-per-view starting. So
yeah,
it makes the most sense for that to happen. I could almost see this happening where Cassidy does win, but then just as he gets to celebrate his victory, you start to hear some trumpets come out. And a little-known figure that has just made his re-debut going into Collision, known as Miro, comes out onto the apron and says he wants gold.
That would be awesome. Like you could set that up maybe as your first Collision match, something like that, like your main event for the first Collision. Like you could really build something off of that.
Because I do think that eventually Cassidy's going to have to lose to somebody, and Miro's had this ability to take it off people who have been running for way too long. Mm-hmm. Like, he's the one who took it off. Wasn't he the guy that took it off Cody the second time? After Brody, just because he was.
I thought that was Sammy.
Oh, that was.
Might have been. I thought it was Sammy, but I could be wrong.
with the fact that they've been running every week these challenges and Miro's just that final hurdle that nobody could get over. Either way.
Yeah, he's the final boss of AEW professional wrestling.
Yeah. And having it go on Miro might actually have a different ramification that we could discuss here. I'll discuss it during the ladder match that we get later on here.
No, Darby took it from Cody, and then Miro took it from Darby.
Okay, so yeah, Darby was the one defending it every single week, and then Miro came out and destroyed him. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I knew there was some kind of destroying there somewhere in there. But you know what? I already brought it up. Let's just get into it right now. The ladder match for the TNT Championship. Wardlow with Arn Anderson in his corner, taking on Christian Cage with Luchasaurus in his corner. Now, two very important questions here. Number one, does Arn Anderson carry elephant bullets for his gun? And number two, does Wardlow come out of this with the TNT Championship?
To the first one, probably. To the second one, no. Like, as much as I think Wardlow's good as champion, I think they've done a very piss poor job with him in this time. And I think getting it on to Christian Cage this way, because Wardlow doesn't have to take a pin. They can do something where Luchasaurus is holding him back as he's pulling the title down. I would love to see Christian Cage with this title, because I think him holding a belt and just having that ability to shit on everybody even more than he already is would be absolute perfection to me personally.
Yeah, for myself, Glock Anderson, he's got to have bullets for everything. He's just like the ultimate. But my feeling is Wardlow actually does keep this championship. And the reason I think of this, and this is also where I was getting into that last one where Miro takes the international title, there might be a possibility for that star power that Orange Cassidy has earned through this reign. He might be one of the highlighted wrestlers coming up on Collision starting in June. And I think that you're actually going to want that TNT Championship branded over to Collision. And and then you have the International Championship, which would be primarily a Dynamite Championship. Mm-hmm. Keep them separate. Give each title some meaning. Give each title some growth. I'm still of the opinion that there is going to be a soft brand extension when it comes to the rosters. Like I said, that's another thing we can discuss another day here. But
yeah, I got feelings on that.
I do feel that Wardlow would be that face that they would love to have as a leading force on Collision. Despite the piss poor buildup that they've had, I think that this is a way where you can make Wardlow a major player on that show.
Yeah, it could work. It really could. But again, you could make Christian Cage, the wily veteran, a real big point for that show too.
Fair enough. I just don't want to have CLB in my life, but that's just me. But I really don't want to use the CC name personally. But anyway, speaking of hokey old timers that could end up being faces of a program here right now, let's get to the AEW Tag Team Title match, where FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler take on the Team TNA. I believe the exact quote was TNA rejects, according to Dax yesterday. We got Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett with probably about 6,000 people at ringside with them. I think one of the best parts of this match, with all due respect to the wrestlers in it, is going to be Mark Briscoe as the referee.
Oh, yeah.
Jarrett's always involved in a hokey match. He's got some kind. He's like Chris Jericho when everything's got to be all screwy in it. But this one here might go to an extra level with Mark Briscoe as the referee, because I don't see him being a very conventional referee. Andre, what are your thoughts on this? Who's going to come out on top on here?
Okay, so I have a personal stake in this. if FTR doesn't keep these goddamn belts and I don't see them in Edmonton on July 5th, I'm going to shit a goddamn brick. Because this is one of the tag teams I've wanted to see my entire goddamn life. And if I don't get to see them here in Edmonton on July 5th on Dynamite, not on Collision,
you just have to go. You have to go down to Calgary on the 15th.
I can't afford that. Unless you want to pay for it, Mike, I can't afford that. But I look at it and I'm just, I really, as much as Jarrett and Lethal have had great steam throughout this entire thing, I don't see them pulling the trigger to changing the titles right now. I think FTR are on a run. They just won the titles recently, or semi-recently, and I just don't see them having the title change now. They're only about a month and change into their title reign.
Yeah, I believe it was just over a month right now is where they've had that run, or maybe even under a month since it was just after Mania. So, or the couple weeks after Mania. So,
yeah,
maybe a month. My personal feeling is Jeff Jarrett has a way of getting a lot more out of what really has all respects to be a part of a feud anytime. He's like an MJF promo. It just never stops where it should. It just keeps going a little bit longer. Yeah, I had to throw that in there. You guys watch my AEW Dynamite sidecasts every Wednesday. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about here. But it's never boring. I will say that. Jarrett, as much as it's elongated and it just, why are you doing this? It almost gets to the point where it's sad, but it's funny all at the same time about how things get done. I expect FTR to retain unless Briscoe pulls a complete swerve here, but I don't see that happening this soon. I could see Mark teaming up with FTR here coming up. There are some other things coming up that we need to talk about here before we go, because there's a couple things that they're not really talking about that are going to be happening on the show that they haven't really talked about a whole lot here. But let's get to our first of two women's matches on the card. For the TBS Championship, Taya Valkyrie versus Jade Cargill. Now, I was the first one to comment about how horrible, not horrible, but awful, the first match between these two were just because of the finish. They had to use that cheesy, you can't use the Road to Valhalla / Jaded ending. And the roll-up between the look on Taya's face combined with Jade and her follow-up roll-up and not using the tights for a pin or anything like that. It really got to me how ugly it looked. Now they've taken the restrictions off. Does Taya finally break the record of Jade Cargill and take the TBS Championship?
Taya will be the 1-60-1. Wear a Loca, baby. Wear a Loca, 100%. I can't pick against her. I've watched this lady since 2010 when she wrestled here locally. I can never pick against Taya Valkyrie. Like, it's just simple as that. But I'm done with Jade. I'm so fucking done with Jade. I've been done with Jade since she got to 25-0. I've been done with her forever. I can't fucking stand her. I think she has not gotten better in the ring. Like, I've always given her like credit before, but at this point in the last 6 months, she has not improved. Like, since Full Gear, she has not improved none. Like, I think she's starting to get worse, and the experiment needs to end. The title needs to go to Taya, and we need to start something anew. Jade Cargill needs to go away. But the scariest part is when she drops this title, you know she's going to end up in the main title picture. That's the scary part.
Well, that's where I know we're going to differ on this whatsoever. I think Jade's actually improved. I just don't think that she's improved at the scale that a lot of people expected. Like, she was having an exponential rise going up at the beginning here. Like, she was getting drastically better every time.
I don't disagree with that, yeah.
Eventually, you can improve, but you're going to start wearing out that those levels of growth are not going to be as big just because there's not as much to grow there. Don't get me wrong, I think she still has a lot of work to do. But I think for the fact that she has been basically the big star in a match with people that are possibly less experienced than her or almost at the same level, might have been a lot of the reason for this stagnant growth or digression that has come up. All sentimental feelings aside about Taya being a local person here or whatnot, I still feel that Taya is going to take the championship for two reasons. One, I feel that looking over this card, we might only get one title change on this card, and this might be it. Mm-hmm. And two, I feel that they are trying to set up for a blood and guts match for the women coming up in the next match we're going to be talking about here. And with that being said, one team is going to need some more players, and I think this is where you get Jade pushed up into that next level, personally.
Yay.
All right, so we have the same result, but just for different reasons here.
Yeah.
Let's go into our other women's match here right now. For the AEW Women's Championship, we got the champion Jamie Hayter taking on Toni Storm. Now, Jamie hasn't been on our TV for a couple weeks here. There are stories going around that she is nursing a shoulder injury right now. And Toni has been quite the opposite, where basically if you're seeing AEW programming, she has been on it in terms of the women's division here. We had a little bit of a break this week with Taya taking on Lady Frost on Dynamite this week, which was absolutely a fantastic match, by the way.
I enjoyed the hell out of that.
But do we see a title change here? Because there's a couple ways you can think how this is going here. I do have my own ideas, but Andre, let's get yours first here.
So again, I think the big point they're going to be building for is All In. I think that's the ultimate point that everything's going to be building towards. Even with Forbidden Door, everything's building towards All In. And as much as I really think Toni Storm is on a roll, Jamie Hayter, she's British, right?
Jamie is, yeah, not Toni. Tony's Australian.
Yeah, Jamie's British. Soraya's British. What better women's match can you ask for at All In than the two of them? Just for marquee alone, it's the two of them. So because of that, I know Toni spent a lot of time in the UK wrestling for a long time. I see Jamie Hayter retaining here because I think the ultimate goal is Saraya versus Jamie Hayter at Wembley at All In. Because would I love to see Toni Storm take the title back and keep going on the incredible run that she's been doing? Hells yeah, because I think she's been doing absolutely incredible. It's just I see the story playing out at All In with Hayter versus Saraya for the title.
I do too in many ways here, but I have a little twist on it, and I think if we don't get a title change in the previous match that we discussed, I think we get one here. For the mere fact that while I think that Hayter versus Saraya would be a hell of a match for All In, I think the best scenario for that matchup is Saraya being the champion going into All In and Hayter defeating Saraya for the championship. I think that would be the extra little cherry on top of that cake there, because Saraya is trying to play up the heel, and regardless, she's going to get cheered. Like, the British crowd's going to put her over like Rover at All In, and we could talk about that later on here, but I got a feeling that Toni Storm might win this one, might pull this out, and at Forbidden Door, we might have a four-way in there where Saraya ends up beating one of the other two people in the matchup to take the championship to get to Wembley, where I think the Outcasts actually work together, and they're glad that the faction still has the championship. And Toni starts developing the seeds for dissent, but she's still overall happy for her team. because, well, they're going to go into blood and guts, and I think that's where you might start seeing the cracks start to show. If they go to blood and guts in August, late or mid-July there, where the women start, there might be a point there where Saraya and Tony don't get along, and this is long-term storytelling as we go along here, but I think
the only hitch I see in yours is the fact that New Japan now has a women's champion, though, and that's where I don't see them doing a title match at Forbidden Door. I see them doing Hayter or the women's champion versus the IWGP women's champion. There'll be a champion versus champion match at that one. I personally believe.
My feeling is they won't do champion versus champion any match at Forbidden Door, for the fact
Except
that they're
tag titles. No, tag titles will be
not even them, because you don't want your champions in a situation where you're going to lose. They look bad. It's an old school way of thinking when it comes to booking, but typically you have your champions face a challenger from the other promotion and the champion goes over. At least in my opinion. We can talk about Forbidden Door later on. My feeling is we're going to see Toni Storm pull out the title here. I think the two women's matches very well could be the aforementioned change of the guard here on this show. But
it's very possible.
I like the fact that it isn't locked solid, that we're both thinking that everything has to be the same way. It's one of these shows where you're not really confident on who's going to win a lot of these matches.
Yeah.
But let's get into a match that I think we both might agree that the same person's going to win here, with a very interesting character that just got involved in this. Unsanctioned match. Chris Jericho taking on Adam Cole. Baby. So as we watched Dynamite last night, to counteract the JAS, Adam Cole has recruited the homicidal, genocidal, suicidal maniac Sabu, who has already domed Mike Menard with a chair in his one appearance in the ring. That was beautiful. But
it was.
Andre, your thoughts on this match? Like, I think we're both going to agree that Adam Cole should come out of here the victor. No,
I don't. I'm going with Chris Jericho. This is legitimately the hottest feud they have in the company. Like, it is. And Adam Cole winning this, it ends it. I don't see that happening. Jericho losing to Roderick Strong and with the Adam Cole assistance was a kind of a sign to me that Chris Jericho is not losing this match. I think, again, it's going to be underhanded tactics where the JS will take out Sabu, they'll take out Roderick Strong, and then Chris Jericho, along with somebody's help, is going to take down Adam Cole, and we get Chris Jericho coming out the victor to keep this story going. This story, if you think about it, it's only a month old. Like, it's not like they've been feuding for 6-8 months. It's a month old. That's why I think Jericho, because then it just gives Jericho so much more fuel to say, you wanted your revenge, you wanted all this for your woman, but you couldn't do it because he's still going that he's calling him, saying he's pathetic. It just gives him that much more fuel for that eventual Adam Cole beating Chris Jericho at All In, at the biggest stage you can do. I think is where this culminates. So I think Chris Jericho is coming out just to give this so much more fuel to get you through the next 3 months to get you to All In.
Interesting twist there. I just don't think Adam Cole, based on everything that's gone on here, I don't know if you're going to give him a loss on his essentially first major feud back, but they very well could make him lose here to build him back up to get him to that point, because I do think eventually the guy that's going to take the title off MJF, and I know this is a spoiler for the main event prediction, but I think it's going to be Adam Cole. I don't think it's going to be an All Out, though. But we'll get to that here with my thoughts on what we're going to do here for the main. I very well thought that either this or the next match we're going to talk about is going to be the main event here, not the heavyweight title match, but I do think that there's going to be more than just Sabu here that comes out. And I think a possibility that Sabu's tag team partner might get involved here in Mr. Robert Van Damage.
Depends if he has a Legends contract or not with WB. That's the only thing that'll limit him.
Apparently, RVD has said that he is available to come in. So,
all right then.
I got a weird feeling that we're going to see RVD here, and it's going to be like one of those cheesy Legends showcase finishes here to a blood feud that. While Jericho, this should end as a serious match. I do have a feeling that this is going to be a very interesting finish here, where it's not going to be as cut and dry as it should be. But either way, let's get to. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The only other re-debut I could see there is maybe depending on where Kyle O'Reilly is, because I know he had a lot of issues going when he had to leave last year. Nobody knows. There's reports out there saying he's been dealing with his issues, like his health issues. But I hope of all hopes, if Kyle O'Reilly returns, and I would love to see Adam Cole win. Don't get me wrong. I see the ultimate destination being All In.
Yep.
And then you have this guy win at the big stage, and then he's the next guy for MJF. I agree with you on that. And if Kyle O'Reilly comes back, okay, Adam Cole's winning, because they're not going to bring back O'Reilly for Cole to lose.
Well, I think you could actually bring RVD and Kyle O'Reilly back, so it's 4-on-4 for all the extras.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know Jake Hager's hat counts for 4, but it's still, By the way, we do have those bucket hats available on my merch store. Just a cheap plug once again. Anyway, let's get to our other hardcore match that we're getting on this show. The Blackpool Combat Club is going 4-on-4 with the Elite. We got Claudio, we got Moxley, we got Yuta, we got Danielson, we got the Jacksons, we got Omega, we got Paige. Pirate Paige, as we would call it here. Now, there's many different ways we could see this match going here. I know there's many ways we could see the Elite winning it out of revenge here. We could see the BCC just dominating here, or sneaking a win out somehow. Or we could see something else happen here. Andre, what are your thoughts about this match here?
Oh, geez. I was hoping you'd go first on this one. But
I can if you want.
Go ahead. I'm going to form some more thoughts, because I have a couple of things I'm trying to put together for this one. This
one here, it feels like it's simmering to a boiling point, but it just feels like the water's just getting wet. My thinking on this matchup is there's another factor that has been popping its nose in every once in a while, in and out, just long enough to be a callus on our backsides, our legs, our feet, that you just want to pick off and get rid of. And yes, that was fully pun intended here with Don Callis. I do feel the ending of this match is going to be involving Takeshita, who is going to turn on the Elite and join the Blackpool Combat Club at the conclusion of this matchup, costing the Elite the victory and setting up a blood and guts match with the BCC and the Elite, with Takeshita being the 5th member of the Bullet Club, and the possibility of some gentleman, I don't know. Does the name
exactly the same thing I was thinking
Does
of.
the name Kota Ibushi ring a bell?
Yes, Golden Elite, baby.
He shows up for being the 5th member in the Blood Guts match. Like, I think this is a very good transitional pay-per-view for it, because I don't think this match has hit its boiling point yet.
Yeah, I was. Again, me and a coworker of mine, we talk wrestling all the time. We talk a lot of AEW. And I really thought that, like, last week was where they were going to introduce, like, I'm talking, like not yesterday, we watched the week before.
Last week, yeah.
Yeah, where I thought that was going to be the Takeshita showing up to screw them at the end there, but he didn't. So I was thinking, okay, how are they going to get Takeshita in this week and then have Kota Ibushi show up? and they didn't. I'm like, what the shit? Where's Bushi? Because again, all the rumors were that Bushi was coming in for this, but now with that, and then the possibility of blood and guts on the horizon, I was just like, okay. So, and then I agree with you. I think Takesha's going to cost the Elite the match. He's going to come out because Don Callis is going to come out siding with BCC, I guess. I don't know if he's ever going to be truly associated with the BCC, but
he's too much of a damn weasel to be a part of BCC.
But he has bled with them. The biggest thing, he's bled with them. That's the thing. He bled with them. So, and Takesha did too. Takesha bled with them. He bled with Moxley. So again, you're going to have that point of, Takesha costs Elite, and then they have to go out, find that golden opportunity to win at Blood and Guts, and it's Kota Ibushi. And I think that's where you get it. That's where it's all leading to. Because again, like I said, this is building to something else. Like you said, just the same way I think that Jericho and Cole is. This is building for Blood and Guts, a big spectacle on TV in the summer. Because you're going to need something in July to get you through to the end of August, and I think that's where the big Blood and Guts show will do. But I'm with you on that. I think Takesha costs him the match, and we get you get Blood and Guts eventually.
Do we get a Kota Ibushi signing on this card?
I don't think we get Kota Ibushi. I think Kota Ibushi shows up at Forbidden Door, possibly.
I think this might be the one of the two scenarios where if we get this match as the main event, which I've always been picky that the last segment on your go home show should always be your main event for a card. And if this ends up being the main event, I do see Kota Ibushi coming out. Mm-hmm. But if they play this up before the last match that we're going to be talking about here, I don't think we'll see it. Well, I think we'll see the last image of this match be the Elite being all bloody and laid out,
and Takesha standing over them, looking like a badass.
Absolutely, and Callis trying to take all the credit for it.
But my only issue with Ibushi debuting is it takes away from a Takesha turn, in my personal opinion. Whether it's the main event, whether it's not the main event, him showing up takes a little bit of luster off of Takesha, and I don't think you want to do that, personally.
The only thing I'll say to that, and then we can move on here, is Tony Khan's never had a problem with a debut overshadowing another debut. If you remember Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it should happen, but I'm not saying he's not afraid of it. But let's move on to a very interestingly built main event for the I was going to say the MGF world title, but the AEW world title, the Burberry title, as he would like to call it,
the Triple B, baby.
We got MJF defending against Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, and Jack Perry. Now, for me, this match had a very, I'm just going to call it a spade, a very piss-poor development in building this matchup until they started getting into these vignettes. Like the actual in-ring promos that they had with each other, the four in the ring, you could really see how some of the guys are lacking in promo skills and some that aren't.
Oh, in the vignettes, you don't think they were at different levels too? Because Jack Perry the last 2 weeks has been absolute shit. Even in the pre-recorded, he's shit.
I think the promos were garbage, but the vignettes, the actual segments with the edited footage in there, I think they did a little bit better to help. Regardless, they tried to make it look like all three of these other contenders had a chance against MJF. They tried. I think they failed, but they tried.
I think the only person they actually came close to doing it with was Sammy Guevara. He's the only one I think that, because Darby Allin's promos just seemed ingenuous because it didn't seem like a Darby Allin promo. None of them seemed right. You know what I mean? Because Darby Allin's promos were usually this extravagant, weird, artsy shit. And we didn't get that with Darby this week, these last couple of weeks. Where if we would have gotten that, that would have been like, okay, this guy is on MJF's level. But we didn't get the Darby Allin promos that we wanted.
For myself, when it comes, I was explaining this actually on the sidecast yesterday, or Wednesday night if you guys are watching this the day that it comes out. When it comes to Jack Perry, his last promo, if you just looked at it from here up, shout out to Astrid with the pose here right now, but if you're looking at the video from the head up, it's a great promo. But
hell no, it's not.
But the way that his shoulders are slumped down and the way he's talking like that, it doesn't give me any resounding reason to believe that he's going to be champion going forward. Darby, well, he's basically doing the same type of promo that Perry is. It's just taken into a more desolate phase. Sammy, I think AEW fudged up where he's almost turning into the face that is taking up the heel MJF right now. Like, there isn't a lot of a mention of the JAS. He's almost turned into basically an anti-hero looking to take out MJF right now.
Exactly what he is.
It speaks a lot to what they think about this match when Sammy Guevara is the one doing the save on Darby Allin this past Dynamite when MJF kicked Darby in the balls.
Well,
rather than having Perry come out and do the save.
Because they're going for a double turn here. They're turning Sammy face. They're turning Jack Perry heel. I think in the end, this is going to sound fucking insane. Jack Perry lays down for MJF to let MJF keep the belt.
Wow. Okay. I would love to see that, to be honest.
Because if you watch the way Jack Perry's been booked these last ones, he's taking cheap wins. He's pseudoly turning heel, like pulling the tights of Rouge, things like that. He's going to go heel, and no, I don't think anybody expects it. I was talking about it with my buddy. I'm like, I think he's going to go heel. I think he's going to be the one to get paid off by MJF. He's going to lay down for him. Like, they're going to take out the other two. He's going to lay down for MJF at the end of that match. I can see if that's that ending. I hope that Christ is not the main event. But yeah.
So my thoughts are a little bit different. I think we're going to get that turn by Perry, but I don't think we're going to get it tonight. And I'll explain why here in just a quick second. What I think is going to happen is Perry's going to do everything to get the victory, and MJF is going to do the prototypical triple threat four-way finish of Perry gets all his stuff in, knocks one of the other two out, probably Darby, and MJF gets Perry out of the ring, gets a quick cover, 1, 2, 3, gets the victory.
If it's Darby, he's getting another headlock takeover.
Well, there you go. The reason I say this is because we got Collision coming up June 17th, plus we have another feud that I think is going to take out All Out. I'm not saying All In, I'm saying All Out in Chicago.
Have they announced that yet?
I think they have, like, internally they have announced that they are having 2 shows in 2 weeks there, which it's a thing. I don't want to say it's a great thing, but it's a thing. We have, at the end of this match, I feel Charles Montgomery Punk shows up to confront MJF about the title that he never lost. And I think that's the next feud that we go into, going into All Out in Chicago, which MJF retains.
It's very possible.
I think you go for that ratings pop there, because if you're not going to go for the ratings pop, if you're not going to go for that pop, why wouldn't you do the pop on Wednesday to announce that CM Punk's going to be in Chicago for the first Collision? I think you bring out I think you bring out CM Punk for this spot here after the main event. Have them do their face off, and then you don't see Punk again until Collision.
That's very possible.
And he just comes, even if he does a promo on Dynamite saying, hey, the next time you're going to see me is in my hometown of Chicago, Illinois.
I don't even think you do that. I think you just have him show up, and then he doesn't show up. Because, again, if he shows up at the pay-per-view, you know he's going to be at Collision. So people are going to tune in because it's at the United Center. So people are going to tune in. So, yeah.
I think that's smart booking in that sense if you just have him show up after that main event. And that would be the reason why they didn't announce Punk on Dynamite this week. Mm-hmm. Because you don't even bring up his name until you actually see him. I am a little worried, though, because the Vegas crowd did boo when they announced that Chicago was going to be the venue.
Yeah, because it's not Vegas. That's why they booed.
Maybe they're a little smarter than we thought here, but as of right now, that's the card for AEW Double or Nothing here coming up.
It is.
Andre, now that we've had another, well, let's say 40-some minutes to talk about this, what are your thoughts about the pay-per-view? Have you changed any of your thoughts about any of it? Your overall feeling going into this show?
No, I was excited for it before we started talking. I'm still excited now. I'm very much looking forward to this show. And plus, getting to see it live with you at Beercade. That's the best part about AEW pay-per-views, is watching it with you. Yeah,
well, I would say watching me mark out when some certain surprises show up. It has its benefits, but yeah, 10544 82nd Avenue. We are having our own live watch party for Double or Nothing. We got cheap drinks. We got great company. We got lots of TV showing off everything. And it's just a great time. And no cover. Saves you $50 to come down and watch that show. So, other than that, I think this pay-per-view is going to surprise a lot of people just for the quality of the wrestling. I know that it's, like I said, it doesn't have that star power punch that you would expect. Maybe 5 years down the road, you might get that on a consistent basis every show. Mm-hmm. Right now, people expect AEW to be the overwhelming, booming, popular program that it is, and it's still developing. A lot of people don't realize good things take time.
Mm-hmm. It hasn't even been 4 years yet. It's not going to be 4 years until October.
Yeah. So. You got to wait till about 5 years before you really get settled in here. So, But yeah, I'm looking forward to this show, and I was really looking forward to chatting with you about this, and I really did enjoy it, Andre. So I know you guys have a lot of bullets in the chamber here when it comes to your shows coming up for you guys, you and Melball, in terms of wrestling talk here.
So this is coming out on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
So this coming week on our channel, Andre and Melball Wrestling Talk, we will be having coverage of the Best of the Super Juniors semifinals and finals coming out, along with a start on the NJPW Pro Wrestler Review. On Stardom Review, we're actually going to be covering the Hana Kimura Pinks show, which is a Hana Kimura memorial show. It was put on this year. We're going to be covering that. They'll be involving some Stardom wrestlers, maybe even a Minoru Suzuki. We don't. He might show up there. We don't know. But we're going to be reviewing that on Stardom Review this upcoming week. So please come and check that out at youtube.com/@Andre and Melball Wrestling Talk. And you can find me on Twitter and all the other stuff at That Canada Guy, Instagram at That Canada if you want to reach out and talk about some Japanese professional wrestling, or talk about this show, because this is going to be an amazing show.
Oh, absolutely. And just so you know, all shows for Andre and Melball Wrestling Talk are simulcast a week later over here on the Backbreaker video channel. But if you want the first access onto the show, check out Andre and Melball Wrestling Talk on YouTube here. So, but yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up here, sir. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Sunday, live and in person here.
I haven't seen you in person since what? Top Talent?
I think so, yeah. Like, and let's just face it, between indie shows and pay-per-views, PLEs this weekend, I believe we have 8 shows this weekend between Thursday and Sunday.
What's on Thursday?
LPW times Clandestine Wrestling
Oh,
Society.
I forgot about that one. Yeah,
You got
that one too.
you got Love Wrestling on Friday. You got Best of Super Juniors finals, semis and finals coming up this weekend. You got Impact Under
wrestling.
Siege, which Astrid and Cody are going to be covering for their channel or their show as
Their
well.
show on this channel.
Their show on this. That's the words we're looking for. Making an Impact will be here covering it. And then on Saturday, you have Night of Champions. You have my version of SummerSlam with GM mode here on my gaming channel. No cheap plug there. And then on
YouTube.com/@Backbreaker_gaming.
There you go. And then on Sunday, you have NXT Battleground and AEW Double or Nothing back to back. My God, do we have a lot of wrestling to watch.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. And I'm going to be watching Best Super Juniors. I'm going to be at LPW. So anybody that was at LPW, hello from the future, in the past, I know.
Folks, all I'm going to say is if you like wrestling, you'll find something this weekend you'll enjoy. Mm-hmm. Simply straight up. But, Andre, any last words before we head out?
No, I'll see you at Beercade, sir.
Absolutely. And I look forward to seeing each and every one of you here in the future at Beercade YEG 10544 East 2nd Avenue. Or I'll see you up here on this channel. So, on behalf of Andre C., this is Mike the Ref reminding everybody here to be part of the solution, don't be part of the problem. And we will see y'all here next time on Backbreaker Video. Take care, everybody.